The Field Guide to Interdimensional Travel for Absolute Morons. Chapter 1. Traveling Interdimensionally, Abridged. Don't. Seriously. We mean it. I ain't letting some stupid book tell me what to do. Probably a boring book anyways. We being me and Jimmy the Geek, found it out in the bar ditch on County Road 502, along that turnoff where people used to go jump their trucks off of dips in the road past the Bayou Bridge. Jimmy the Geek and I had just been down that way pulling traps for crawdads and shooting beer cans until they sank into the water. The problem with shooting beer cans until they sink is eventually you run out of beer cans to shoot. So me and Jimmy went hunting down the roadside for some new targets, and just back on the main county road, there it was. A dumb book. I didn't want it, but Jimmy, well, we don't call him Jimmy the Geek for nothing. He picked it right up and flipped through the pages, got all excited about it, and insisted we hightail it back to the truck and head back to FishStick's house where the other guys were hanging. FishStick's house was big. Her parents had scored big on some squirrel call thing that her dad invented a few years back. I mean, like 2 stories big. Ain't hardly anyone in the bend with 2 stories, and FishStick knows it. We don't let her get too proud of it, though. One time SlapBag dared her to take a bite out of an old rotten dead fish at the bridge, and FishStick just won't back down from a dare for sure. She stuck that fish with a little tree limb and got a big old chunk of it and just started chewing. She horked it back up like 5 seconds later, but damn, she didn't flinch a bit. Before then, FishStick's name was Michelle.
Guys, you aren't going to believe what we found,
Jimmy the Geek said as he got out of the truck and walked into FishStick's dad's garage. Steve ain't done nothing yet dumb enough to get a nickname, looked up from his guitar. Jimmy had interrupted him playing Wonderwall, which we all generally agree is the best song to learn for anyone playing guitar. Steve looked a little peeved that Jimmy had just burst in and stopped him.
Better be good, geek.
He grumbled, seeing the book.
And it better not be a book.
SlapBag snorted in a way that you do when you think something's funny, but you don't want your geek-wad friend to think you might think he's funny.
Yeah, unless it's got pictures of girls in it. Ow!
He stopped that snort right up when Anna smacked him in the back of the head.
I'm right behind you, idiot,
she said. Anna was sort of not really SlapBag's girlfriend, and I still don't get them at all. Nobody wants to cross Anna, and she sure as hell didn't deal with SlapBag's mouth. She wasn't wrong, he was an idiot for sure. But you don't see us go smacking him around for saying ignorant stuff. Much.
Seriously, guys, this could make our summer. Look at this.
Jimmy held up the book and pointed at it. I really hadn't even gotten a good look of it before, and it did look pretty cool for a book. It was big, like the big Bibles they got at the pedestals at church. Not fat like them, but wide and tall. Looked like shiny black leather covered it, and the golden letters caught the light in a way that made them look like they were glowing. SlapBag squinted at it.
The field guide for what's it travel?
Interdimensional.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, Canadian to me, man.
I could see Anna considering smacking SlapBag again for that one, but I guess she thought better of it. Everybody knows Canadians speak English. It ain't like they're from another country. Jimmy slapped the book again.
Interdimensional. Like, into parallel worlds and alternate realities and stuff. Look, it tells you all about how to do it.
He opened it up and showed us the pages. It was all diagrams and blueprints and stuff.
That's way too convoluted for us, Jimmy. We ain't got half that complicated looking stuff.
FishStick's dad was teaching her how to work on cars, so she had a little more mechanical know-how than the rest of us.
I can't even make out what most of that crap is.
That's the beauty of it, guys. It's not that complicated. All you need is a good amount of electromagnetic energy, a weak spot in the interdimensional fabric, and a substantial shot of directional kinetic energy through the electromagnetic energy. This stuff they want to build is basically an overly complex way to do it. We can do it a lot easier.
Jimmy was looking around, and I'm pretty sure he saw the slack-jawed stares. Happened all the time with Jimmy. Dude would get worked up about something all sciencey and just outrun the rest of us. But he knew his stuff. I mean, the summer was about to get going, and it was gonna get kinda boring. Dove season didn't start until August, and of course it would be a long time until deer season. And it looked like this summer was gonna be too hot to fish worth anything. Last summer was so dang hot we couldn't even go scavenging at the, less than legal garbage dump down on the far south side of the county. People threw out some awesome stuff there since the landfill didn't take any kinds of scrap metal or guns or electronics, and the bend is way too far out in the boonies to have a recycling thing going on. One time SlapBag found a whole computer out there and Jimmy pulled out a hard drive and hooked it up at home. It was full of some old lady's nudie pics, and SlapBag was so excited about it he told Anna, and then immediately had to go put it back in the dump. Idiot. Jimmy was still trying to convince us to give it a shot.
Look, we can build this thing. I'm absolutely sure we can, if we get everything we need, and we can get it all from the dump.
FishStick popped in.
Fine, I'm game if we can go scavenge the dump.
The lass was always up for building something, especially if she was bored. If FishStick was in, I was too. Anything she got her hands on would end up being rad. Yeah, I'm in, I said. It'd give us something to do, even if it's some weird, dumb roadside book.
Sure, whatever.
Steve added. Not caring was kind of Steve's thing.
Okay, fine. Maybe we can build it. But what about this thing with thin interdimensional fabric? Where are we gonna find that?
Anna was feeling skeptical, apparently.
And can we please talk about how fast we're jumping into building an alleged interdimensional portal from a book you just found on the side of the road?
If it doesn't work, at least we had something interesting to do.
SlapBag said.
I'm not worried about it not working, idiot. I'm worried that it will. What in God's name are y'all gonna do if it actually opens?
FishStick laughed.
It ain't gonna work, Anna. It's a dumb sci-fi book. It even looks like one of them books you get off the internet that teaches you how to be irresistible to women and stuff, and then all it ends up being is a fancy cover and blank pages that come from China and cost like $200.
I think we all did a double take on FishStick.
What? My cousin told me about it last year.
Pretty sure there's some fancy German word or whatever for that feeling of being embarrassed for someone because they ain't got the sense to be embarrassed about it themselves. And I'm pretty sure I felt it right then. FishStick must have figured it out because she plowed right away as fast as she could.
Anyway, anything that wants a big-ass electromagnet is gonna be fun in my book. You can do a heap of fun stuff with those. We could shoot an aluminum panel like 40 feet in the air with a big enough one.
Jimmy looked like a little kid who just got told he could eat as many hamburgers as he wanted for lunch. That, or a puppy was about to pee himself. I couldn't decide.
I have an idea about a thin spot. You know that elm grove out past the Jones place that everyone used to say was haunted? What if it's haunted because things are getting through from other dimensions? What if that's the thin spot?
Chapter 2. Traveling Interdimensionally. Abridged. Warning. Before constructing your interdimensional portal, please read all instructions to the letter and follow them explicitly. We have capitalized the latter part of the former sentence because the authors are assuming that since you are proceeding to Chapter 2 of this field guide, you are indeed the target audience for this book, hence the title. Any deviation from the plans and blueprints will produce unpredictable and potentially fatal results. Interdimensional travel is an exact science. We cannot guarantee safety or travel trajectories unless the exact instructions are followed. FishStick glanced over the plans and decided the first thing to do was to throw them out. Jimmy the Geek was right. This was going to be a pretty easy build. She and Jimmy figured that a few microwave transformers could be rejiggered pretty painlessly into some kind of electromagnet we needed. And SlapBag and I got really excited about the project when they figured that any one of our guns could produce enough kinetic energy needed to cut the rip, as they said. Y'all, we're gonna get to open this up by shooting it. Really. Hell, now I don't even care if it worked either. SlapBag and I figured that the biggest gun we could find was the best, and FishStick's dad had a Bushmaster 450 carbine on the wall in his gunroom. SlapBag swore that that thing could put a hole in an elephant. Maybe it could put one in dimensional fabric too. Who cared? We just wanted to shoot the thing. The kick on that bad boy alone might put us on the ground. That was downright awesome. SlapBag had a thing for guns and hunting, even more than me. One time we were filling a deer feeder and I was on a ladder trying to pour a 50-pound bag of deer corn up into the top. But the ladder wasn't quite tall enough, so SlapBag decided to jump up and try and hit the bag. To push it on up there for you, he explained in the hospital later. Instead, it scared the hell out of me because I didn't know what he was about to do. And then the bag split, and I dropped it. 50 pounds of corn in a vaguely canvas-shaped bag fell right on top of SlapBag from about 15 feet up. Dude broke like 5 ribs. And that's why we call him SlapBag. We originally called him Slappy Bag, but that sounded like we caught him in his bedroom me time, so we shortened it. The Elm Grove wasn't too far out, and FishStick and Jimmy had everything set up in no time. They were using an old generator to produce enough electricity for the electromagnets, and it made all sorts of racket when they fired it up. It took a few minutes, but it wasn't long before the humming sound was coming from the contraption they put together and was drowning out everything else. It was really funny looking at this point. We could feel the vibrations on the ground in the Elm Grove, even a good 100 feet away where SlapBag and I were standing. Jimmy and FishStick were slowly backing away from the whole thing. I guess they didn't want their belt buckles to suck their britches into the magnet or something. That'd have been as funny as all get out, and believe me. As they got closer to us, the air around the whole thing was starting to get, well, shimmery and almost, I don't know, loose. It looked like it had waves in it, like sheets blowing over the breeze, even though you could see through it. It was the first time I started having a feeling that this was actually gonna work.
What are you waiting for?
FishStick yelled over the noise at us.
Shoot the damn thing!
SlapBag didn't need any more than that, and drew a bead on the spot right above the electromagnets. Next thing I heard was a roar. A big gun went off and sent SlapBag sprawling. Ha! Idiot didn't even put it tight against his shoulder. I started to laugh at him, but suddenly found myself flying back too, slamming back to the ground next to SlapBag. And then there came Jimmy the Geek, landing all melt-hell on top of me. What the hell, man? I shouted as I shoved Jimmy off of me and crawled painfully back to my feet. That's when I saw it. Hot damn, it worked. No kidding. Right there in front of us was this, hole. Like someone had torn into the air and opened it up right where the waves were, and inside that hole was a weird desert. Swear to God, I'd never seen anything like it. We all kinda just looked at each other, like, what are we gonna do now? I don't think any of us really thought that this was gonna work, and we especially hadn't figured out what we were gonna do if it did.
Well,
FishStick grunted.
might as well go in.
We were all beginning to agree with this when the tank rolled up. The tank is Steve's Jeep Wrangler, modified with fat-ass tires for mudding, with big roll bars and lights on top for spotlighting at night. So rad. I've been trying to convince myself to get a giant eagle painted on the hood to just jack up the badassery. He and Anna jumped out and tossed FishStick and I a couple of 12-gauge shotguns.
Good Lord, idiots. Y'all were about to get into that, weren't you? With nothing but one elephant cannon and your worthless brains.
Anna was as cheery as usual, bless her heart. She waved towards the back cargo area, which looked loaded with a couple of water coolers, tents, camping supplies, and guns, and what looked like lots of ammo. Damn.
Annie figured if this thing went wild and actually worked, we might need some stuff.
Steve explained.
Made me load up just about everything.
Well, stop standing there with your jaws on the ground and get in, losers.
Anna snapped.
We're going to another dimension.
Chapter 2, Traveling Interdimensionally, Abridged. Subsection 5, Traversing Interdimensional Gateways. It should be noted that your experience traveling interdimensionally will vary based off of the quality of the gate build, the complexity of the integrated circuitry, as noted in subsection 2 of the chapter of the guide, and your basic ability to follow simple instructions. The actual method of matter transferal when crossing dimensions is unknown. What is known is that your corporeal form is instantaneously disassembled in this dimension and reassembled in the destination dimension in the corresponding coordinates. While the author's experience with dimensional travel have always resulted in the destination being located at the same geographical coordinates as the origin point, dimensional travel is unpredictable and the author cannot guarantee consistency of destination location. Additional warning: consistency of coordinates across dimensions does not guarantee consistency of geography. Swear to God, I thought I died. It felt like I was one of Captain Pants' chew toys. After Captain Pants had chewed it up, and spit it back out, and ate it, and ran 10 or so flights of stairs, and rolled over a few hundred times, and then dropped what was left on FishStick's lawn in a massive dump. And then that dump was put in the oven. Captain Pants is Steve's big golden retriever he bird hunts with. Steve slapped on the brakes and the tank skidded to a stop, and we almost fell out hurling. SlapBag jumped out and barfed too. I guess they had the Captain Pants special like I did, but I managed to keep it together. Damn, if it wasn't hot like a pressure cooker on overload though. At least it wasn't too bright out. The sky was covered up with low dark clouds. The tank was sitting on top of a little hill. Looked a lot like a hill in the elm grove. But man, there was nothing. Like, nothing. Just dirt. Dirt as far as we could see. Kinda boring for a first dimensional jump if you ask me. I expected floating rocks or giant mushrooms or like an upside down Home Depot or something. I decided to say that. Kinda boring for a first dimensional. All of us immediately shut up, and I'm pretty sure SlapBag stopped barfing mid-hurl. After the noise faded, all we could hear was the hum behind us from the portal and the wind whipping the dirt around us. Anna broke the silence.
We should go back. This is cool and all, but we should go back now.
Hell no.
FishStick said.
This is the most fun I've ever had since Steve and I ran from the cops that one time.
She talked a big game and all, but she also had a pretty good grip on her shotgun.
We should at least drive around a bit. We can stay close to the portal.
Jimmy offered.
I kinda wanna see what it looks like back in town over here.
We didn't do all this work for nothing. Let's go.
SlapBag chimed in and Anna immediately shot him a stink eye. Sometimes I wonder if Anna's stink eye is worse than getting smacked by her, honestly. SlapBag didn't even seem to care.
What? We got guns and tons of ammo. This place is empty. What could be out here?
Y'all, get in.
Steve had already put the tank in gear. Chapter 4. Dimensional Civilization and You. Or rather, no world is empty and you could die horribly. Subsection 3. Everything you meet will want to eat you. Consider any non-civilized dimensions as actively hostile and dangerous. For that matter, consider any civilized dimensions as actively hostile and dangerous. Assume a dimension is uninhabited at your own risk.
See? Ain't nothing out here.
SlapBag yelled over the tank.
Just dirt and more dirt.
I'm pretty sure that one of Anna's secret pleasures in life was proving SlapBag wrong. And if it is, she's getting plenty of it because SlapBag is wrong a lot. Like I said, I don't get them at all.
Hey! Something's following us!
She yelled back. At least she was out of range for the smacking, I guess. She didn't even pull the stink eye because she was too busy watching behind us. I turned and looked, and all I could see was a dirt cloud the tank was kicking up behind us. But Anna was standing up in the front passenger seat, leaning over the roll bar, facing back, and she had a better view than I did. She pulled out the AR-15 that was down on the floorboard and steadied it on the roll bar, looking through the scope.
Draw straight, Steve.
I punched FishStick and motioned to the pair of binoculars next to her in the cargo area. She passed them to me. I turned around to the back seat and tried to catch what Anna had seen. The wind gusted a bit and threw the dirt cloud sideways for a few seconds, and sure enough, there the damn thing was. I tell you, that thing gave me spooks for real. Looked like a dog running on all fours, but it was big. Like person-sized big. And damn if it wasn't keeping up with us, if not gaining a little. Anna wasn't gonna spend any time playing around. She was already sighting it up with the AR-15, holding tight and squeezing the trigger. Guess she didn't want to find out if it was friendly. As she fired, the tank jumped and shook as it hit something. Her shot went wild.
Damn it, Steve! I said drive straight!
She glared down and then saw what had happened. The dirt cloud dissipated behind us as Steve gestured forward on the road now in front of us. This dimension had roads, apparently. And dirt. And freaking fast giant dog things. Jimmy the Geek squealed like a little girl and there was a roar from the shotgun. I jerked back around and found out that his little girl squeal was probably because Mr. Freaky Fast Giant Dog Thing was now just off our bumper, staggering a bit and losing ground. Jimmy was trying to climb out of the cargo area in the back seat currently occupied by SlapBag, who was simultaneously trying to fight him off. FishStick was the one who shot the thing. "Steve, dude, step on it!" I yelled over my shoulder and brought up the shotgun next to me. The thing was recovering, and as I aimed, I got a much better look at it. It wasn't a dog for sure, and it wasn't a person either. It was mechanical, or at least mostly mechanical, with lots and lots of parts. I didn't even want to call it a robot because those are like slow and deliberate. This dude was fast and agile, and apparently just took a load of buckshot to the body and shook it off. Whatever its limbs were, legs and arms I guess, were metal and moved like muscle, coiled and tense like a mountain lion when it spooked. And it had some badass looking claws on the end of its feet. Damn thing basically fell out of an ugly tree and managed to hit a few branches on the way down. Honestly, I started feeling a little girl squeal coming up in me too. but I reasserted my manhood by shooting at it. FishStick fired again, and the freaky fast giant robot dog mountain lion thing stumbled, but then immediately pulled itself back up. Every time it lost ground on us, it would start gaining it back in a few strides. The damn thing was playing with us. It was only a matter of time before it got bored.
Martin, give me your gun.
Anna roared. Who the hell was Martin? Oh wait, that's SlapBag. Almost forgot his real name. SlapBag handed the Bushmaster up to Anna, swapping the AR-15 with her. He immediately took aim and fired at the FFGRDMLT. You got a better name for this thing? I'm all ears. I'm partial to Asshat personally, but that's also Anna's cat's name. It really didn't like that this time. Didn't take it any effort to launch itself off the ground and onto the back of the tank, which sent the Jeep careening all cattywampus around the road. I hollered, SlapBag hollered, Jimmy the Geek screeched like a cat that had been stepped on, Anna fought to hold onto the roll bar in the Bushmaster, and FishStick screamed for real as the monster bot, better name, got its talons into his leg as he scrambled to both hold on and get out of the cargo area at the same time. At least it was a manly scream. I needed to remember to tell that to him later. Steve, who spent a lot of time back ranch racing on the dirt track, Old Man Swaggart built on his land, got control of the tank and set her back on course. The monster bot was bringing up one of its back legs over its front leg to what I can only figure it was make fish sticks out of FishStick. SlapBag and I fired at it again, point blank, while FishStick mostly screamed, manly, at it. We slowed it down a little, but it stayed put on the back of the tank. That's when the Bushmaster went off. Anna had managed to get it steady and put a .45 round directly in the monster's excuse for a face, and it was mostly like a lit red circle from 3 feet away. The thing's face shattered and it let out a piercing mechanical screech as it suddenly turned loose of both FishStick and the tank, bouncing down on the road behind us as we sped away.
Yeah, fucking stay down, too.
Chapter 6. Base Stability of Dimensional Portals. Or, No One Likes a One-Way Trip. Subsection 2. Dimensional portals can be cranky toddlers. Properly stabilized dimensional gateways will stay active anywhere from 24 to 48 hours without continuous power to the electromagnetic sources in the originating side. Plan accordingly. Improperly stabilized dimensional gateways have a mind of their own, and will be wildly unpredictable once steady power to the electromagnetic source has been lost. We would tell you to plan accordingly, but this would prove impossible. If you have traversed any unstable dimensional gateway, you're on your own. I never understood how curiosity kills cats. I really don't. But I sure as hell understand how curiosity kills people. Turns out, almost dying / getting your leg tore up by a monster bot can also cure curiosity pretty damn quick. We put a little more distance between us and the monster bot before stopping. We didn't want to, but FishStick's leg was bleeding pretty bad and we needed to get it fixed up. We got her set pretty quick with the first aid kit Anna had brought and propped her back in the cargo area again. She protested a bit, but Anna told her to quit being a wuss. Jimmy the Geek was about 3 points short of a keg after all. Dude couldn't stop breathing hard and barely managed to squeak out that he wanted to go home. We didn't disagree. I kinda still wanted to see what the bend looked like on this side, but Anna smacked me upside the head when I said it. Probably a dumb idea. With FishStick set, we got turned around and tried to steer clear of the road and hopefully the dead monster bot we left behind. The plan was to skirt around the road until we found our tracks on the dirt and then follow them back to the portal.
We should leave markers where we came from,
SlapBag suggested. Not a bad idea if we could time travel. I decided to say that. Not a bad idea if we could time travel and set them then, I said. Jimmy squeaked again but didn't say anything.
We can't time travel, dummy.
Anna said without even looking back.
We jump dimensions, not time frames. It doesn't work like that. God help us if you idiots start fooling around with time.
Jimmy croaked out something about space-time fabric, but I didn't know what that meant, and he sounded kind of like a chicken after you kicked it, and I couldn't take someone seriously like that. We drove for another 15 minutes or so, and Steve finally stopped.
Track ain't out here,
he said.
Must have blown off.
Anna slurped.
Awesome.
What the hell do we do now?
FishStick shouted from the back. Jimmy clucked again. Maybe more like a scream clucked? I don't know. Anyways, we managed to make out him saying electromagnets before he got frustrated and stopped. Probably because SlapBag and I couldn't stop snorting while trying to not laugh at his stupid voice. Anna pulled the compass out from her bag and showed it to Steve.
Look,
she said.
That's not north. At least as we know the terrain on the other side. Maybe it's the portal. We open it with magnetic forces.
Steve shrugged and turned the tank in the direction of the compass. I sure hope that wasn't Monsterbot's mama coming after her baby. Steve pretty much just slammed down the accelerator after that. We were all well enough spooked that the only thing we did hang on to was the tank and our guns. It didn't take long to get to the rolling hilltops where the elm grove was on our side and the portal should have been. I say should have because the tank slid to a stop where we should have come out earlier, but there was no portal. Appendix A. Frequently asked questions, or help, I'm lost in another dimension and everything wants to eat me. Question 8. What if my portal closes before I get back through? This is a common question, and one we fully expected to field. Given the general audience for this guide, as noted in the title, if you find yourself in a situation where your portal has collapsed due to loss of a power source, bad planning, general incompetence, or any of these combined, please note that recently closed portals still contain a link between the worlds as the fabric of spacetime repairs itself. These links can transmit over the air transmissions across dimensions as long as the thin spot remains sufficiently thin. In short, hope you get there in time and get a mobile signal. The sound became louder than before now that we had stopped. Almost like it was getting closer, even though it came from all directions. Like it was closing in on us from all sides. Jimmy the Geek, who had been frantically flipping through the pages of the book that started this mess, suddenly brayed something like a donkey with no water. Anna smacked both SlapBag and I upside the heads before we could start to snicker.
Sounds like he said phone.
FishStick said. Jimmy nodded and squeaked. Anna pulled hers out.
I've got a signal. Wait, how do I have a signal? Hell, it don't matter.
She quickly tried to make a call. It was right damn on top of us. We looked up as the clouds above us split, and through them came a big-ass black triangle. Honest to God, that's what it was. I mean, it was big. Not big like Monsterbot. We're talking big. Like jumbo jet. And from the specks flying out of it, it must have been madder than a wet hen.
Chuck, man, we need help. Listen. No, listen. I ain't got time to tell you how the folks are. We need you.
Anna had gotten through. Good thing too, because we were about to be in a whole world of hurt. The specks kept getting bigger, and us boys had to raise up our guns. We had to buy Anna, and Chuck, apparently, some time.
Look, Chuck. Look, no. Chuck. You gotta make it out to the old elm grove out near the Jones place. Yes, the white lady one. Take gas and your deer rifle.
As they got closer, they looked like those little drone things you see around. The cheap ones kids get for Christmas and break the next day. I hope those broke about as easily.
Oh hell, it's like shooting skeet.
SlapBag hollered and fired. I aimed and fired too. He was right. It was almost like dove hunting or skeet shooting. Except these drones probably wanted to kill us and drain our blood or something. Come to think of it, I wonder if doves want to do the same thing. They just can't because they have the wrong beaks. I mean, if they had big long beaks like hummingbirds. I found myself on the ground in a heap of pain. That little drone bastard had just blasted me with something. Almost like the time I let Steve taser me just to see what it felt like. SlapBag yelled as one got him too. Steve and FishStick kept shooting, scrambling out of the tank for cover around it.
5 minutes? No! You gotta go faster, Chuck.
We had thinned out a good amount of the drones, but we could see more coming from the mama bot above. Their shots hurt, but now that we were expecting it, they couldn't put us down as much when they got us. We'd all taken a few good licks in our day, but we aren't going to last forever. More drones. They started looking like a cloud coming down from Mama Butt. SlapBag and I couldn't reload our shotguns fast enough, and the air smelled like burnt waffles.
What? Okay, yeah. You see that generator, Chuck? Gas it up and get it going. Hurry! Gas now!
FishStick wasn't shooting anymore. Damn Drodes has gotten her too many times, and now she was lolling over, starting to drool. No bueno. I hopped over and grabbed the AR-15 she had and picked off a few more until one got me right in the back of the leg and I fell. SlapBag and Steve were both trying to scoot under the tank, and Anna had covered herself with the box lid from the cargo area, using it like a shield. They were on us. We were out of time.
Shoot it, Chuck! Shoot it! Yes, damn it! Stop asking stupid questions and shoot the damn thing!
There was a sharp crack and light flooded our backs.
Get in!
Yelled Steve. I laid down some cover for Steve and SlapBag to jump in the tank, and Steve threw it in reverse. I dove in too, right over Jimmy the Geek, who managed to become a puddle on the floorboard during all this time. Thanks for the help, Jimmy. I felt the acceleration backwards as Steve floored it. Then the full Captain Pants treatment again. It ain't so unpleasant, really, after getting run down by MonsterBot and its MamaBot and tased multiple times by its little pissant drone buddies. Then, pleasant late spring air, and a huge crunch as Steve hit what was presumably the electromagnet setup. The portal flashed shut. Steve spun to stop, and we all collectively rolled out, horking up anything remaining in our stomachs. Chuck stood there about as useless as teats on a bull.
What in Sam hell happened to you guys?
Chapter 16. Documenting Interdimensional Excursions. Or, write this down now before you forget. It is always important to debrief after an interdimensional journey, both for mental well-being and for science. One should always document everything experienced during interdimensional travel as quickly as possible after a successful excursion in order to preserve the experience for the future. While interdimensional travel is far from common at this point in time, we expect in the coming years it will be far more prevalent. A documented list of experiences and worlds will be invaluable in the days to come. We managed to get FishStick to the local hospital, and they bought our story that she fell over a rototiller and into an electric fence. They didn't even bat an eye, really. Might have been because all of those times they've seen FishStick turn up in the ER. The rest of us were okay enough to walk our zaps off. And even Jimmy the Geek stopped making barnyard noises the next day after we got him enough Benadryl to knock out a dude twice his size, and he slept for 12 hours. We all kind of agreed after that to not revisit the Elm Grove for a while. I don't know what Jimmy the Geek ended up doing with the book. He barely talks about our trip, and we haven't really brought it up with him. Heck, SlapBag quit clucking like a chicken around him for a couple of weeks. So here we are. I figured it's best to get this down somewhere before I got fuzzy. And if someone else runs across a copy of this book, you'll be smart enough to put it back where it came from. I still wonder why the title had "For Complete Morons" in it, though.